Welcome to DAT Podcast, a place for digital age teachers to talk DAT talk about teaching in the 21st century. Here, we welcome all educators, ranging from those who don't know how to right-click on a mouse to those who could probably build their own computers themselves. With technology now being ubiquitous in our schools, we have no choice but to accept the reality that nowadays, we're all in this together. We're here to guide you through the world of educational technology and all it has to offer, and help you navigate teaching in this digital age we live in. I'm Marcus Stein, Director of Professional Development with AXI Education Solutions, an education technology company in Louisiana.
And I am Dr. Sarah Dempster, an Assistant Professor of Education and EdTech Specialist at a four-year university. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Episode 2. This episode is all about productivity. This week, we have tons of tips, tricks, and ideas to help you be more productive.
And shout out to my mom, the inspiration for this episode, with her jump drives and her CD rewritables. Bless her. And shout out to my stepdad, too. I bought him a Chromebook like 4 years ago, and he only uses it when I come over. So this one is for y'all. I love y'all.
We all have that kind of person in our life, right? So this episode is all about efficiency, finding the most productive way to do things so that you can move on to other things. Marcus, you ready to chat all about productivity?
Yes, let's do this. Mom, I hope you're listening, girl. This one's for you. I love you.
Okay, I'll start things off with story time. My story this week starts about 4 years ago when I became the faculty advisor for a student organization. I was about to begin my first semester of teaching as a full-time faculty member, and it was the first semester of being enrolled in my doctorate program. So I was already feeling pretty stressed in general. Well, a few weeks before the fall semester was set to begin, the advisor for the teacher education student organization called and asked if I wanted to take over as the faculty advisor. I was kind of stunned for a second because here I was, a brand new faculty member, being asked to lead a super involved student organization. I said yes because I could not pass up the opportunity to lead an organization that I belonged to as an undergrad. Also because I kind of have a hard time saying no to anything. But anyway, while I was super excited for the opportunity, I was also nervous about how I would juggle the responsibilities of my new job, being a doctoral student, and being the faculty advisor for a student organization. So fast forward to a few days after saying yes, I get to my office and notice that I've inherited this huge file box of papers. I'm talking like everything from lists of members for the past several years, information about the events the organization had participated in, instructions for officers, all kinds of things written or printed out and stored in this box. I just kind of stared at the box, not really knowing what to do with it. And as someone who has pretty much everything saved in Google Drive, I really didn't know what to do with a box of papers or how to approach the task of bringing the organization into the current century. So I immediately stuck this box in a cabinet and never looked at it again. Instead, I created a Google Drive folder and some documents that we could use to keep track of members, upcoming events, and other important information. Through the years, I have continued to make changes here and there to continue improving our efficiency as an organization. Things like moving communications with members from posts in a Facebook group to Moodle, where all members get email reminders and have access to all of the documents and forms they need to remain active. Or even changing the paper membership to a Google form that collects and organizes all of the information in one place so that no one has to transfer what was written on a form to an electronic document. Now, pretty much everything is done through Google Forms and Docs, and this is my biggest advice for anyone leading or working with a student club or volunteer organization. Google Forms and Sheets are your best friends. These tools make it so easy to collect information from members, determine who will be attending community events, or even when to schedule a meeting. Google Forms can do it all, and then Sheets come in to help you organize and store the information collected. Remember that brand new faculty member and doc student me from the beginning of this story? If she even heard me say that I was in love with Google Forms and Sheets, she would laugh at me. I used to be so intimidated by Google Sheets, and it was my least used Google tool. But now, I don't think I go a week without opening a Google spreadsheet to access some type of information for work or for the organization. And I am constantly creating new forms to collect information from the various students, faculty, staff, and other individuals I work with. I even volunteer to create forms now because I'm kind of a nerd for Google Forms. Sheets and forms have absolutely helped me to be so much more productive and have changed the way I do some things for the better.
Who offers to do forms for people? Who does
I do.
that?
I can't stop with the forms.
So, my story is kind of similar to yours. It's definitely about productivity and being efficient. So, I volunteer in New Orleans with a nonprofit called P Flag NOLA. It's like a super great support group. Look us up. And I got started because I'm a fierce LGBTQ advocate and I like to amplify the voices of people who maybe aren't as loud as me. So, fighting for marginalized or silenced groups is definitely my thing, especially when it hits home to my gaze. So, my favorite thing about PFLAG is that we award over $20,000 in scholarships every year to local LGBTQ students. But we're not perfect. So I came on about 4 years ago, and my second year on the board of PFLAG New Orleans, I decided that I wanted to be the recording secretary. So, like, literally, my job was to keep receipts. I literally keep receipts for the organization. And this is how I really had my moment with productivity with PFLAG New Orleans. So recently, we decided to host free support group meetings in both Orleans and Jefferson parishes in Louisiana. And we needed to get the word out really quickly. I mean, the amount of people who really rely on these support group meetings is incredible. And we need to let them know that we're having more meetings. So, in a board meeting, we had a chat about what we wanted the advertisements to say and who would be creating them, me. And then we moved on with the meeting. So that night, I opened a website, a web app called Canva, on my phone while enjoying a glass of rosé and listening to some tropical music on my back patio in mid city New Orleans, America. And I just created. Yes, Canva is a website, but it's also an app on your phone. I literally sat there on my phone enjoying the evening and just created the flyer right there. I was able to import logos, add in high resolution images and text. And then ultimately, when I finished playing after 20, 30 minutes and I made the flyer on my phone, I downloaded it as both a PDF and a JPEG. And then I emailed it to the board later that night. And baby, they were shook. Shook. Like, wait, Marcus, how did you make a flyer like the same day? Like, aren't you really busy? What programs did you use? Ooh, I could never do that. We are so thankful to have you on our board. When in reality, girl, we can all do this. You can go to canva.com on your computer, create a free account, and create. Or you can download the Canva app on your mobile device, like an iPhone or an iPad, and create. It is spectacular for making announcements, banners, flyers, logos, and it's completely free, y'all. So, why the great folks at PFLAG New Orleans thought I was going to use like Microsoft Word or Google Docs? Oh, no, 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 no. I'm about efficiency. So, while yes, I can make a flyer in Word or Google Docs, I'm going to go with Canva because it has templates. Y'all, templates. Templates are your best friend when we're talking about productivity because you can take something that already exists and make it your own, which is what I did for PFLAG. So the moral of the story is that we're all creators. Like, we all can create things. It's a fallacy that like only people like me and Dr. Dempster are the ones who can make flyers. No, boo, you can all make them. So if you're struggling with creativity, try Canva. You'll be inspired for sure. Also, this is not sponsored. Like, I just love the app so much. So Canva did not pay me to say this. It really saved me in a pinch.
Canva is definitely one of my favorite tools also, and if anyone from Canva is listening, we would gladly accept sponsorship because we both stand behind this really awesome tool.
For sure.
Hit us up. All right. We have now reached the receipts section of the podcast. In this section, Marcus shares some research related to our theme. Here's where he gets to nerd out about research and information that you can review to support making changes to your workflow or teaching strategies. So whether you need research to bring to your administrators, colleagues, or just for yourself, he's bringing you the receipts. Marcus, what receipts do you have for us today?
Oh, I just love this part, y'all. I really do. So shout out to my nerds. So when Dr. Dempster and I were nerding out about like this productivity episode, I just dove down the rabbit hole and I thought about all of the moments in the classroom where things can get inefficient. Okay. So in the theme of efficiency and productivity, this week's research receipts is about transition time in the classroom. You know, the amount of time it takes you to move from anticipatory set to actually beginning your guided instruction. What happens in that time in between? How quickly do you get to the next thing? And what happens when your internet slows down? Or what happens when you can't find your materials?
I love this, and I'm so excited to learn along with the listeners.
All right, girl. Let's get into it. So, rather than just one article or peer-reviewed journal, I have a couple of perspectives that I'm going to talk about. So, kind of like a podcast peer review, if you will, and we'll be sure to put these in the show notes. But the first one is an article that really struck me, and this is kind of going to be our anchor. It's from 2008, so a little bit of a throwback, but it's called Using Performance Feedback to Decrease Classroom Transition Time and Examine Collateral Effects of Academic Engagement. And it was in the Journal of Educational and Psychological Consultation, again, in 2008. And I think they do a fantastic job of sort of introducing this concept of transition time and how important it is. So, a little excerpt from the beginning of this peer-reviewed article. Research has identified a strong positive relationship between academic learning time, defined as the portion of time students spend actively and productively engaged in learning, and student achievement. The basic components of academic learning time include time allotted to instruction, engaged time, and academic productivity. And although most school professionals are aware of this relationships, students spend up to one half of instructional time engaged in tasks that are not related to learning, such as classroom procedural matters, transition between activities, discipline situations, and off-task activities. Fortunately, increasing time allocated for instruction may actually increase the percentage of time teachers deliver instruction. That is, the more time teachers plan to use for instruction, the more time they will spend delivering the actual instruction. So that's the moment that really stuck with me, is planning for instruction and knowing that you're going to have to maneuver between one idea and another idea and moving from guided practice to independent practice. So what this peer review article tells me and what it really pulled out of me is this thought that, am I really planning for everything during my lessons? And in the classroom, essentially, yes. Yes. Like, we've read Wong's First Days of School. We know all about procedures and transition time. But think about where we are right now. Like, think about this COVID situation, or in some cases, teachers have been teaching distance learning or remote learning environments. And how do you manage transition time here? Because here, you're not transitioning from journal topic to discussion of the novel. Oh, no, 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 no. You're not transitioning from bell to bell. Your transitions here in COVID-19 classroom reality, strange, weird times, is your transitions now are moving from your broadcasted PowerPoint to the website where you're explaining things, or moving from a whiteboarding software where you're solving math problems to jumping over to Khan Academy to showing an example of how Khan Academy teaches that content. We now are transitioning to web resources, and then we also have to transition to actually interacting with our students. So, like, the Q&A or the chat that you use inside of your webinars, or the stream, or the conversation discussion panels inside of Canvas or Blackboard or Moodle. So all that being said is we really have to take a pause and breathe when it comes to thinking about how we're orchestrating these new age lessons. It's like beating a dead horse to talk about transitions in the classroom, because I think if you're definitely a certified, highly qualified teacher, you know very well about the importance of transitions. But I want to steer the conversation about transitions online when you're in a virtual, blended, tech-savvy environment. And so don't forget that just because you had it when your kids were in front of you, that does not mean that you have it when your kids are not in front of you. So think about that. Another resource I'm going to put on the show notes is an NEA article. And this NEA article is all about transitions. And so the first one is changing signals and, activity breaks and walking the halls quietly. Friends, while this is helpful for an in-person school, it's not necessarily helpful for the environment we're in now. So it requires some translation, okay? It requires some translation. What are you going to do when your internet lags and your webinar is sort of just going haywire? Do you have a plan for that? Do you have a minimum transition time for yourself when you move from your slides to jumping over to the chat panel? I just say all of this so that we can be more cognizant about the impacts of kids getting off task in the transition time of an online class. You take 3 seconds. Okay, we'll stretch it. We'll maybe say 10 seconds. You take 10 seconds to get from website A to website B. What is happening on the other end of the computer when the student is at home in 10 seconds? In 10 seconds, they have 3 TikTok videos up, 4 text messages to their friends, and they're probably hosting an Instagram live. So, I'm just going to keep on underscoring the importance of transition time. And again, these resources are in the show notes. So please, please, please check them out. I also have a lit review that was designed by a Professor Kaiser. And in her lit review, she lists several other references and additional resources that all discuss this idea of transition time. So what I encourage you to reflect on in these receipts today is we knew about it and we made it important when our kids were in front of us, like moving from A to B. So make it important now. You will be so pleased at how smoothly your virtual lessons go when you plan for moving from one component to the next. So just a little reminder about transitions. I hope I didn't get too nerdy for y'all. And again, all of those resources are in the show notes.
I just want to jump in really quick and remind everyone not to feel intimidated by this. Everyone is struggling through this new time of online learning, and you don't have to be perfect. But like Marcus said, if you take some time to do a little prep before your online class meetings, you can drastically change the way they will go, because you won't spend as much time struggling through the issues and kind of trying to figure things out while the students are sitting there waiting for you.
Preach, girl. Preach. I had to bring it up. People forget that transition time was like an essential component of when we learned how to be teachers. I'm just saying.
Yep.
Let's not forget, y'all. All right, let's move on to our next segment. In this segment, we share things that we tried first, so you don't have to. We're going to be your guinea pigs. And we're going to give you some honest opinions and discuss how these tools or strategies have helped us solve problems we faced recently.
This week, we want to focus on some things we do that help us be more productive. These are some of our well-tested tools and strategies that we use regularly.
So, yeah, we definitely tried it for all of these. We are about to hit you with a little bit of rapid fire list of some things that can help you be more productive.
So I will start with the 2 tabs that I always have open in my Google Chrome browser. And yes, my first advice is always use the Google Chrome browser. But the 2 tabs that are always open are email and Google Drive. I open each of these in a tab on my browser at the start of my workday, and they are not closed until I am done working for the day. Keeping these two tabs open means that I can always quickly access emails and all of the information stored in my drive, which is basically like everything I've ever worked on or even thought about working on. So basically my whole life is in Drive, and being able to quickly access this information at all times is key to increasing productivity.
Ooh, I like that. My tip is keyboard shortcuts. Y'all, I can get things done on my laptop so fast, and it's almost a problem because people expect me to do everything like right now. For instance, when I'm compiling a slide deck or I'm citing text from a bunch of resources, I want the font to match where I'm pasting it, right? So instead of pressing just paste or control V, I press Control Shift V when I paste. This way, all of the fonts will match the rest of the fonts in like the doc or slides that I'm working on now. And speaking of slides, y'all, you do know that you can use Control D to duplicate anything from a slide to the text to the pictures. So, like, be more cognizant of your copy and paste skills. You can go faster.
Yeah, and if you ever want to feel like a tech wizard, learn some keyboard shortcuts and then just like go to town in front of people and watch them like freak out and ask, "Oh my God, how did you do that?" Right? Also,
Yes.
Also, we use Moodle for our LMS at the university, and sometimes it will not let you right-click to copy or paste text whenever you're trying to edit a discussion board or any other kind of thing in Moodle, but keyboard shortcuts always work, so you don't even have to worry about it. It's amazing. So let's talk about screenshots for a second. Please stop sending me a photo that you took with your phone of something on your computer screen. Just please
Oh
stop.
no. Oh
So
no.
every computer has a built-in screenshot application. Windows computers have the snipping tool, Macs have keyboard shortcuts, even Chromebooks have a screenshot tool. All you have to do is use the application already on your computer, which will usually take a screenshot and then automatically copy it to the clipboard. And then from there, you just paste the photo into a document, a slide presentation, or you can even save it to your computer if you have to upload it to some other kind of application. It's so easy, and screenshots look way more professional than a photo you took of your computer screen with the glare, with fingerprints, or any of that other gunk that builds up on our screens after daily use. So just stop taking pictures of your screen with your phone.
Whoa, that is really efficient though. Like y'all, just use the screenshot, friend. You could do it. I believe in you. And your phone has a screenshot too. Screenshots of a screenshot of a screenshot.
Yep.
Okay. So Google Keep. I use Google Keep to just never lose anything. I never forget let me stop. I forget stuff, but I never lose things, okay? Google Keep is a website, it's an app on your phone and a widget that resides in some of your core Google apps. So the next time you need to take notes or organize them into tasks, use Google Keep. You can instantly share notes with others, and your notes can be audio, drawings, pictures, and you're not limited to the way you choose to remember things. For me, I take pictures of everything, y'all, everything. So when I need to take notes or remember things, I put them in Google Keep and I use a hashtag to categorize and organize everything. Bloop. I told y'all, I'm the receipts keeper. I keep everything. You like that, friends? Yes. You are feeling productive. Yes. Or maybe inspired to be more productive. So that's good. And in this week, our positive word is all about feeling good and feeling inspired. So this one comes from Wendy Durant of Dura Counseling in New Orleans. She and I are good friends, and we co-presented on a webinar yesterday about this crisis, this COVID crisis, and just keeping sane. She's a former teacher and a licensed play therapist, amongst other things. This woman is a guru. Well, she said something that stuck with me, and it was, stop looking around at other people. This is a crazy time with COVID-19 and being quarantined, and many of us are indeed in a crisis. So in order to find your inspiration to do something, stop looking around and comparing yourself at what you see. You can take steps that you need. You can, as long as you do your best. So no comparisons, okay? You be as productive as you need to be. And don't let this conversation or any of this be another thing for you.
On that positive note, we have reached the end of episode 2. Be sure to check out the show notes for tons of links and information about everything we talked about in this episode. Also, shout out to everyone who liked our Facebook page and got us to over 100 likes in less than 24 hours. And now we are well over 200 likes. Very exciting. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even on YouTube, where you can actually watch videos of our podcast. There's no video, but you can hear what we're saying. Links to all the usernames are in the show notes. And go ahead and give us a like, a comment, a love, or a tweet at any time.
Thank you so much for tuning in, y'all. We hope you will come back next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.